I was fired for stealing, but they never knew I secretly owned the company Sophia eating at your desk again. Catherine, my supervisor, stood beside me, arms crossed, her usual disapproval evident. Her sharp gaze swept over the scattered financial reports on my desk as I hurriedly finished my lunch. The tension in the air was unmistakable. Someone has to get these reports done, I replied, brushing away a stray crumb from my simple thrift store dress, a $30 fine that served as a quiet reminder of my modest beginnings, something Catherine never failed to look down on H. Or is it because you can't afford the restaurants where we executives dine? Her voice dripped with condescension, her smirk practically daring me to react. I met her gaze with a calm smile, refusing to take the bait. If only Catherine knew I owned 60% of global investments, she might have fainted on the spot. My name is Sophia Robinson. I'm 34 years old, and 3 years ago I inherited the majority of shares in global investments and ventures from my father. But rather than stepping into a high-ranking role, I chose to start from the ground up as a financial analyst. I wanted to understand the company from within to learn its operations inside and out. Only 3 people knew the truth: my attorney Meredith, my accountant, and my brother Simon. Not even my husband David, the company's CEO, was aware of my secret, Sophia. Catherine's voice yanked me from my thoughts. I need the Richardson Project analysis on my desk this afternoon. She ordered, her tone leaving no room for discussion. I frowned slightly. That report isn't due until next week. Well, I need it today. Is that a problem? Her eyes locked onto mine, daring me to refuse. Not at all, I answered, pushing aside my irritation. What Catherine didn't realize was that the Richardson Project was my own initiative, a plan to restructure the company and eliminate unnecessary positions, including hers. Just then, my phone vibrated. A message from Meredith flashed across the screenboard of directors pushing for an emergency meeting. They want to discuss the Richardson Project. Do we proceed? I hesitated, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Something about this felt off. Wait, I have a feeling about this. As I focused back on my work, I caught sight of David striding through the office, exuding his usual air of authority. We had met 2 years ago at a charity gala, where I had played the role of an ordinary donor blending into the crowd. He had been drawn to what he perceived as my humility and dedication to hard work. Marriage had been his idea. He liked the image of being married to a simple, career-driven woman. What he didn't know was that I had been closely evaluating his performance as CEO. This entire time, Catherine practically ran up to him. Her enthusiasm was impossible to miss. Can we talk about the Richardson Project? Of course, Catherine, in my office. David didn't even glance in my direction as he walked past, completely focused on her. 2 hours later, Catherine returned, practically glowing with confidence. Sophia Robinson, I need you to gather your things, she announced, satisfaction dripping from her voice. I looked up, confusion settling in. Excuse me, we found inconsistencies in your reports. You've been leaking confidential information about the Richardson Project, she stated, her eyes gleaming with malice. That's absurd. I shot back indignation. Rising. Is it? She smirked. We have proof that you've accessed files beyond your authorization level. Of course I had accessed them. I had created them. Catherine, this is a misunderstanding. Security. She cut me off completely, ignoring my words. Please escort Miss Robinson out of the building. As the guards approached, David appeared wearing a mask of disappointment that only fueled my anger. Sophia, sweetheart, he sighed, shaking his head. I can't believe you would do this. I narrowed my eyes, disbelief washing over me. You too, David, as CEO, I can't make exceptions, not even for my wife. He stated flatly, his voice void of any emotion. Catherine's smirk deepened, revving in my downfall. Thief? She sneered as security flanked me. You'll never work in this city again. As they led me toward the lobby, I heard her syrup voice addressing David. Now that you're divorcing her, how about dinner? We can discuss my promotion sitting in the parking lot, trying to process the whirlwind of events. My phone buzzed again, another message from Meredith. Do you want me to reveal your identity now? Not yet, wait, 2 more weeks. I want to see what else they do. A quiet determination settled over me. I placed my phone down and started my car. A 2010 Honda Civic, another intentional choice, a reflection of the grounded values Catherine and David never understood. As I pulled out of the lot, a small smile formed. The emergency board meeting was coming, and sometimes the best revenge is simply waiting for the perfect moment. For the next 2 weeks, I stayed in the background, watching as David and Catherine systematically unraveled everything I had built with the Richardson project. It was surreal seeing my hard work crumble before my eyes. The numbers don't lie, Henry. My meticulous accountant said over the phone. His tone was serious yet reassuring. They've embezzled nearly $2 million in consulting fees this past month, and those falsified documents they used to frame you. Catherine created them with her administrative access. Honestly, it's sloppy work. Just then, Meredith entered my private office, a luxurious penthouse. David had never once stepped foot in during our marriage, a space I had built for myself filled with the success he had always taken for granted. The board is in a panic, Meredith said, dropping a stack of files onto my desk. The sound echoed through the otherwise silent room. The Richardson project was their best chance at modernization, and they know it. Meanwhile, David filed for divorce this morning, citing unethical conduct and breach of corporate trust. I couldn't help but laugh at the irony. Perfect. Everything is set for tomorrow. She asked, her eyes narrowing. With determination, the Emer Mercy Board meeting is scheduled for 10:00 a.m. All members have confirmed attendance, I replied. A sense of satisfaction washing over me that night as I sat in my office, my phone vibrated with a message from David. I'm sorry it had to end like this, sweetheart, but stealing corporate information. What were you thinking? The divorce papers are on their way. Be reasonable with the settlement. There's no need for this to get ugly. I stared at the screen, considering a response, then deciding it wasn't worth it. I let the message sit there unanswered the next morning. I arrived at corporate headquarters dressed in a $5,000 Chanel suit, a small indulgence I had avoided during my time undercover. The fabric felt smooth against my skin, a stark contrast to the events that had led me here. As I walked through the lobby, the receptionist who had witnessed my humiliating exit 2 weeks ago froze, her face pale with shock. Miss Robinson, you can't be here. She stammered, eyes wide with disbelief. Actually, I said my voice. Steady, check with security. I have a meeting with the board of directors inside the conference room. David sat at the head of the long, polished table with Catherine beside him. Looking more like his consort than an executive. Seeing them together made my stomach turn, but I remained composed. What is she doing here? Catherine shot up from her chair, her expression twisting with outrage as her eyes darted between David and me. Sit down, Catherine, I said, my tone even. This concerns you directly. You don't get to give me orders. David, do something. She shrieked, panic creeping into her voice. David looked just as unsettled as she did, his brows knitting together in confusion. Sophia, the terms of your dismissal were clear. He started trying to take control of the situation. Before he could finish, Meredith entered, pushing a cart stacked with thick folders. The entire atmosphere shifted as she stepped into the room, her presence commanding attention. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, she began smoothly, her voice measured and controlled. Allow me to introduce Sophia Robinson, majority shareholder of Global Investments and Ventures, and the legitimate chairwoman of the board. Silence fell over the room, thick and heavy. Then Catherine let out a nervous laugh, a feeble attempt to downplay the moment. This is ridiculous. She's a junior analyst, a thief. No, Meredith corrected, unshaken. She is the daughter of Richard Robinson, the company's founder, and for the past 3 years, she has been evaluating this administration's performance. David went pale, the realization hitting him hard. But we're married. Yes, David, I replied, my voice unwavering. I married you to determine whether you were the leader this company needed. Unfortunately, you failed spectacularly. Catherine's head snapped toward him, panic flashing across her face. She's lying, David. Don't listen to her. I ignored her desperate protests, keeping my focus on the board. Would you prefer to review the evidence of the embezzlement first? Or should we begin with the forged documents used to justify my termination? David shot up from his chair, scrambling to regain control of the spiraling situation. There must be some misunderstanding. A misunderstanding, I asked, flipping open my laptop and turning toward the board. Are you referring to the $2 million in ghost consulting fees? Or perhaps the offshore transfer specifically to a Cayman Islands account? Catherine frantically grabbed her belongings, clearly rattled. I have an important meeting, sit down. I ordered firmly, the police are waiting outside. They have a few questions about those forged documents. The room fell into a tense silence. Some board members scribbled notes. Others exchanged uneasy glances as they absorbed the evidence in front of them. Ladies and gentlemen, I continued, my voice steady. Carrying weight for the past 3 years, I have worked from the ground up, learning every facet of this company. I've analyzed our financials, studied departmental operations, and what I've uncovered is deeply troubling. With a single click, a series of data-driven charts illuminated the large screen at the front of the room. The vibrant visuals immediately commanded attention. Under Mr. Bryant's leadership, efficiency has plummeted by 40%. That's a staggering drop, one that directly translates into lost revenue and missed opportunities. Administrative costs have tripled in just a year, draining funds that should have been reinvested into innovation, the very foundation this company was built upon. David scoffed, frustration tightening his expression. That's not fair. I've secured new contracts. Oh, you mean the contracts? With shells secretly owned by your brother, I raised an eyebrow, letting the weight of my words settle in. Yes, we uncovered that too, along with a paper trail leading directly back to your office. Meredith, ever the professional, stepped forward with composure, distributing documents to the board, as you'll see. She said smoothly, her tone authoritative, the Richardson Project, the very initiative Miss Anderson falsely accused Sophia of sabotaging, was designed to uncover these financial irregularities and safeguard the integrity of our company. This isn't just about one person. It's about the future of global innovations and ventures. David's expression shifted, desperation flickering in his eyes like someone backed into a corner with no way out. Sophia, sweetheart, we can fix this. We're husband and wife. Surely you can reconsider. I sighed, his words heavy with insincerity. Reaching into my briefcase, I retrieved another folder and placed it on the table with a firm thud. About that, I began letting the moment stretch before continuing. Here is my countersuit for divorce. It includes all evidence of your fraud, embezzlement, and unethical conduct during our marriage. His face paled, disbelief and fear settling in as the weight of my words sank in. You can't do this to me. Oh, the same way you couldn't defend me when I was falsely accused, the same way you couldn't resist stealing from the company or remain faithful. My voice remained steady, each word cutting through the tension like a stone skipping across a still pond, sending ripples of unease through the room. I turned to Catherine. She had gone rigid, Her face drained of color. Slowly, she sank back into her chair. Her confidence shattered as reality unfolded before her. As of this moment, I announced unwavering, David Bryant and Catherine Anderson are officially terminated from their positions. Security will escort you to collect your belongings and ensure your departure from the premises. You can't arrest me. Catherine shrieked as two uniformed officers entered their presence, commanding attention. Panic laced her voice as she pointed accusingly. This was all David's idea. My idea. David snapped, his anger flaring as he turned on her. You were the one who forged the documents as they were LED away. I turned back to the board, my resolve strengthening with every word. Global Innovations and Ventures was founded by my father with one vision: to develop technology that improves lives and empowers people along the way. That vision was lost, buried under greed and ambition. Today, we begin again, realigning with our mission and ensuring accountability at every level. 6 months later, Global Innovations and Ventures was unrecognizable. The company had transformed in the wake of the Richardson Project. With the initiative properly executed, efficiency had skyrocketed by 70%. We recruited fresh talent, revitalized leadership, and reignited our passion for innovation, restoring the spirit my father had envisioned when he founded this company. The once stagnant office now pulsed with energy, creativity, and collaboration flowed freely, replacing the fear and hesitation that once stifled progress. Employees who had been silenced by uncertainty now spoke with confidence, their voices filled with excitement about the bold future ahead. This was no longer just a workplace. It had become a thriving community united by a shared goal to reclaim the company's legacy. Meanwhile, David and Catherine faced the looming consequences of their actions, with their reputations in ruins and careers on the line. The weight of their corporate fraud charges pressed down on them as their trial approached. Next month, it served as a stark reminder that every decision carries lasting repercussions. The board had taken a firm stance, making it clear that unethical behavior would not be tolerated. The company's integrity would be safeguarded at all costs, with their fate sealed. The once formidable duo now stood at the brink of complete downfall, their legacies irreversibly damaged. As for me, I had reclaimed my old analyst's office, though it was no longer just a workspace now located on the executive floor. It stood as a symbol of perseverance and dedication, balancing my responsibilities with purpose. I was committed to steering the company back to its core principles while ensuring it thrived in an ever-evolving market. Every decision I made was guided by a vision of restoring integrity and building a stronger future. Some employees still gave me curious glances when they saw me having lunch at my desk, a mix of intrigue and admiration in their eyes. To them, I represented resilience, the proof that persistence pays off. I had learned that the best ideas come from staying connected to the foundation of the company. I wanted to be part of the team, sharing both victories and challenges, reinforcing the belief that we were all in this together. My father used to say, "Power isn't in the title, it's in the actions." Over the past few months, I had come to fully understand the truth in those words. Real leadership doesn't come from a corner office, but from the ability to stand firm in adversity. It's about the choices made when no one is watching and the principles upheld, even in the face of temptation. He was right. Sometimes you have to lose everything, or at least make it seem like you have to truly understand who you are. The journey isn't about accolades or prestigious positions. It's about authenticity, character, and staying true to one's values. And as for that 2010 Honda Civic, I kept it a small but powerful reminder of where I started and the lessons I had learned along the way. It symbolized resilience, humility, and the understanding that success isn't defined by luxury or status, but by the path taken and the impact made. As I looked out my office window, watching the city pulse with life and endless possibilities, I felt a renewed sense of purpose together. We would rise, reclaim our identity, and set a course toward a future built on integrity and innovation. The road ahead was clear, and I was ready to embrace it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. See you next time.